Hello, everybody. Tonight we're going to start something new. We're going to be talking about world events. We're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about Putin, and we're going to talk about Zelensky. Welcome to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling. I'm your host. I guess we'll start our little trip talking about the Ukrainian war. Russia, Ukraine's still going to war, and there's a couple of subjects that I'll pull out of it. First off, the Ukrainians are claiming that they have killed 770,000 Russians, as well as a whole host of a bunch of their equipment, 20,000 drones and 5,000 tanks. And I'm not 100% sure how the Ukrainians acquire the numbers of the killed of the enemy. I don't know how that works. From what I do understand about war, I feel like that would be a near impossibility, especially when you consider the way that war wages in the modern era, with distance being one of the key factors. I mean, for example, the other day, Ukraine fired a drone into Russia that hit a building that was literally 1,000 kilometers from the border. That is some distance. I'm telling you right now, I wonder, do they need satellite to control that thing? Because if it traveled 1,000 kilometers, that is fairly impressive. It still doesn't strike me as I understand how they would know the casualty rates of the Russians, nor how the Russians would know the casualty rates of the Ukrainians. It does give you the indication that they're getting desperate when they start talking about numbers, though, right? They're trying to indicate to people that this side is winning. You got to give us more money. Please support our cause. And to have to I find it to be very crass to be talking about the casualty rates. Like, look at how many of our enemy we have destroyed. Like, what are you talking about? Are you winning? Or are you losing? That's what really needs to know. Talking about how many people may have fallen in the course of that is not necessarily. Well, it's not something that a warrior culture focuses on. But Zelensky is over there very unhappy. He's very upset. There was another incident where the Slovakian president, Slovakia is a country in Europe, flew to Russia to hammer out a deal over the oil that Russia supplies to Slovakia, or the natural gas, or one of the petroleum products that Russia supplies to Slovakia, because Russia has massive amounts of it. They have so much of it that Russia has managed to make a new deal with Germany for the fuel, and the new deal with Slovakia. That's just those that are being broadcast on the news. Now, I will tell you that there's another report coming out where the Russians are actually impacting the world oil prices. I find that to be pretty funny. However, what I would point out in this one is that Slovakia is part of NATO, and they are on the other side of Ukraine, like they are behind them, and they secretly flew to Russia to sit down and hammer out a deal to how to get this fuel to them. Now, I imagine they're using a pipeline that's running through Belarus and Poland to get into the country. Could be that they're dropping it off in ships. I didn't read the article that far, because the fact that the Slovak president, went went behind everybody's back, zipped over there and hammered out the deal, just kind of goes against the narrative of CNN. It just goes to show you there can be no proof in the fog of war. All right, so the the next thing I want to report on is Trump is at it again. This time he's saying he wants to buy Greenland. Oh man, what a showman! First he says he wants to turn Canada into the 51st state, which I can't see how that would happen. Even if every Canadian everywhere would be interested in that. He's talking about bringing in the whole country en masse. It would have to be, 10 new states, right? 13 new states, really, when you include the territories. And then he said that he's mad because they're paying so much shipping to get through the Panama Canal, which American companies built and then gave control of it back to Panama during the 70s. Now the Panamanians are charging too much money for shipping to travel through. The reason that Greenland and Panama are so important, and though he's making jokes about it and everybody's laughing at him, they are strategically significant because they get the freight from China into the United States of America. As most of you are probably aware, the Panama's not very wide in Central America, and so they built a passageway through so they wouldn't have to sail around Argentina, which can be very tumultuous weather. And is a lot further to go if you're trying to send a product, say, from China into New York, or a product into from New York over to the Pacific Island, or over to Asia. What you might not be considering is that Greenland, which is owned by Denmark, is now that the Northwest Passage is open, is increased a lot of shipping, and it's much faster than the Panama Canal because the top of the planet is closer together, right? Like it's round, so the distance between the countries is faster to go through the Northwest Passage, and it's an interesting part of the world, right? Because you have Canada, then you have Russia, then you have Denmark, as you can see illustrated by this map. What you have to sort of be considering is that if the Americans had control of Greenland, not only would they have control of that Northwest Passage, which would, of course, control a lot of freight going into Europe, from Asia into Europe, it would also give the Americans a place to go into Russia, right? I mean, you can see the Alaska-Russia border is very close together, but Greenland would give them that much more of an advantage. I mean, it's important to understand that there are parts of the continent of Canada that are closer to Russia than they are to Ottawa. If you can believe that. Like it's it's a big place up there, and it's a lot of it very close together, more than this map indicates. So when he talks about it, though it sounds bombastic and it sounds very grandiose, part of it is because he's looking at the strategic and the economic impact of these laneways, and saying to himself that we have to make more money in America so that we can have the middle class return, and this is something that we need to be addressing. I agree with him. Like we got Justin Trudeau talking about how the North, we're going to put up a couple of F-15s or something, and really we need to be doing a lot more up there. We need to be running rail up there so that we can unlock the North truly, completely, 100% for all time. I will leave that for a different video. I would like to thank you for listening. I would appreciate it if you would like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this channel with all of your socials. I will talk to you next time.